Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and this episode is all about the draft. We are going to sim to the draft, so we're almost there. We're 25-31. I mean, after having an 18-10 May, we are actually doing pretty good. We're a little bit ahead of schedule and pretty much just doing our thing. So let's actually sim to the draft day. Let's sim these games. So it looks like Jumbo Diaz got hurt. He's back though. So now we're at 27-33, 6 games below 500 at the draft. So here we go. Let's get into this draft, and let's check out who went number 1 overall. And the first baseman actually went number 1 overall. Pretty surprising because I've never really seen a first baseman go to number 1 overall in a draft. He doesn't even have any secondary position, so he must be. I mean, I don't see anything that he does like really well. I mean, he's decent speed for a first base and 50 speed, but besides that, I don't see anything that he's just like great at. I would have thought maybe if he would have went first overall, he had 80 out of 80 power. But here's another guy we're actually looking at, Tony Tierney. He's pretty good. I got to admit, he's pretty good. He's got 70 out of 80 break, 70 out of 80 home runs per 9, 80 potential at 19 years old. So let's just hop into our pick, man. Let's just look at what we're looking at working with. So right off the bat, I like to get guys that are close, have close ETAs, and are at a position that come at a premium. So like starting pitcher, shortstop, center field, like positions like that, like, and mainly people that can play a lot of positions as well if I don't get those positions. So let's just look at some of these guys. So it looks like all the blue chippers up here are not expected to be ready for 2022 at least. So I mean, they're quite a ways away. Let's just look at their overall. So look at this, 45 overall for this first baseman. Nobody above 60 really. This closing pitcher, but I'm not going to take a closing pitcher with my first pick, and he looks like he's actually going to be ready, MLB ready next year, it looks like. So but I want to stay away from closing pitchers, so let's keep going down the line. Jason Luna, a potential guy that he's got 75 potential, which is pretty good. Let's just keep going down the line because there was a guy I was looking at, and here he is, Troy Almonte. This is the guy that I'm really looking at here. He's ready in 2020, so give him 2 years, but he's got 80 out of 80 speed, so he's going to be a burner right off the bat, and he actually has decent power. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be a 30-40 home run guy. He might be like a 15 to 20 home run guy, but still a guy that can steal some bases, and that's the one thing we're missing in our organization. We don't have anybody that has great speed. He obviously has it. He has, I mean, it's an average arm, 40 out of 55 average arm, but I think he can hit pretty well. He's got contact versus left. His potential is 75, which is pretty good, and 65 is pretty good for contact versus right. So he also has good plate vision, which means he's going to make good contact, and he's only 5'9", 20 years old, so I kind of like him because his reaction is 75 too, so he's going to be a pretty good fielder with 80 potential fielding. So I actually like this pick. Let's look to see who's around him. Is there any other guys here? Perry Hendrickson, he's 70 potential though. It looks like he has decent speed. He has decent contact as well, but I just like the fielding I get from Troy Almonte, along with the speed, along with the contact and the vision. I kind of like it. So let's go with Troy Almonte with our first pick. He's not a blue chipper, but he's pretty damn good. So let's move on to the second round, and we actually get a competitive balance pick here. So actually it's before the second round. So let's look at who we have a chance to get. And this was a guy that I was actually looking at getting here, and his name is D'Angelo Shantz, and he's pretty good. I mean, if you look at him, look at his power. This is what I like. His power is 65 potential versus right, 70 versus left. He can hit pretty well, and look at his arm strength, 55 out of 70, and this is a third baseman. He's only 19 years old. He doesn't have the 80 potential, but he has 75, and I actually like him a lot because he could possibly be one of those guys that are like A-Rod. I mean, one of those young guys that might potentially hit the major leagues at age 19, 20 and take the league by storm. You never know, because I like what he has right now. A lot of his attributes right now don't need a lot of development, because if you look at him, his hitting zones, if they can't hit, they might have all blue hitting zones, but they're actually okay. They're not bad. They're not great either, but they're okay. So maybe he'll take maybe a half a season in the minors to get up to the majors. Let's actually look to see who else is available that we have fully scouted. Jason Luna is another guy, and I actually like him as well. He's 70 overall with 75 potential. He's only 18 years old. So hopefully he's there for the second round pick. If we can scoop him up with our second round pick, that would be something. Juan Baroa, another closing pitcher here. I'm not going to get a closing pitcher this early, but we don't have many people scouted fully because it looks like everybody we scouted fully has already been taken. So looking at the guys we have scouted, the only 80 potential guy is Chris Etheridge, and he's pretty good as well. He's got 75 potential in hits per 9, and it looks like he's not going to walk a lot of guys. He's got good control, good walks per 9. Looks like he's going to be pretty good in the future, but like I said, I like this D'Angelo Shantz, man. He's just good. He doesn't have great speed. But he's a great all-around player. 70 fielding potential, 70 arm strength potential, and he's maybe a guy we can slot over at shortstop. We'll check him out, but let's just draft him. So 2 position guys coming off the board for us. One in the outfield, one in the infield. I kind of like it right now. So now we're back up to our third pick already. You see Chris Etheridge went off the board, so the 80 potential guy went off the board, and Jason Luna went off just before us, and that was a guy that I was really looking to pick, but now we got to pick somebody else. So let's sort by potential again and look at these guys. So Juan Baroa, a closing pitcher. I like him here, age 18. Let's look at some other guys though. Johnny Diaz, he's 65 overall. Here's the thing, there's a lot of 80 potential guys here. So if I sort by 80 potential, there's a lot of 80 potential guys here still on the board, but the accuracy is just not there. So it's not a sure thing if I draft them whether they'll be good or not. I mean, like I said, there's a big list of them, but I don't want to take my chances this early in the draft looking at all these 80 potential guys. But here's an 80 potential guy that possibly could turn into something. He's 60 overall right now, but 80 potential. 19 out of Cuba, so maybe this might be a guy that we can look at here. So he's got look at his hits per 9. His potential is only at 60, and his strikeouts per 9 is only at 55. So it looks like he's more of a control pitcher, because his walks per 9 has the potential to be 80, and his home runs per 9 is 75. So really what I'm looking for in a starter is a guy that can not give up a lot of hits or strike out a lot of guys. And this guy doesn't seem to have either, so I'm actually going to stay away from him. Let's sort by accuracy again, and 1 second. So let's see at the top here. So maybe this closing pitcher, Juan Baroa, he's only 18, and he's got 75 potential, and I like that he's 18, because I mean, that means, we don't necessarily have to move him up right now, but he's going to be young, so he could probably work his way up into the majors next season. His MLB ETA is 2019, but I like what he has. He's probably the best guy we have out of anybody with the highest accuracy up here. Let's look at Brian Orlowski. So it looks like he's pretty good as well, but we just drafted him infielder, but he's actually not bad. He has pretty good hitting attributes. Looks like his field's pretty good as well, so he's pretty good. Let's look at Sam Escobar. No, let's not look at him because he's 65 potential. So yeah, out of all the guys we have up here, this guy's 70 potential. Yeah, I mean, nothing like inspiring about getting this guy. So I kind of like Juan Baroa. We haven't got a starting pitcher, which is something I wanted to get, but hopefully one of these guys will last until the next round. One of these 80 potential guys, I don't know, but we'll check it out. Let's get this Juan Baroa. I like him because we do need a closing pitcher. We do need some relief pitching in the bullpen, especially in our organization. We don't have really anybody, so let's go with Juan Baroa. I kind of like him, so let's go with him with our third pick. So now coming up to our fourth pick, so it looks like there's been a lot of picks in between our third and fourth pick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more rounds. So I want to go after starting pitching right here. So hopefully we can find somebody that's a starting pitcher. But let's actually see. So let's sort by potential. So starting pitcher here, Lewis Barton. He's 20 years old. Well, that's the thing. We're literally going in blind right here because we don't have these guys scouted out with accuracy. We only have 2 of the guys. So Charles Gibbons, he's 21 years old, and Brian Orlowski. So Orlowski, is that how you say it? Orlowski? I mean, he has good speed. I mean, good stealing. I mean, but I just don't know. I mean, he's a few years away. He's 60 overall, only 70 potential. I might honestly would rather take a flyer on another guy that has 80 potential that we don't have much scouting on. So here's an interesting guy though, a right fielder, Howard Armas. It looks like he is a pretty good fielder, has pretty good speed and pretty good stealing, but like I said, the accuracy is just not there, so we don't know exactly if he's going to be that good. But let's go over starting pitching and let's sort by potential. So let's look at these guys. And you know what's funny is that the closer you get to being older, the more accurate you are when the accuracy is this low. Because if you look at a 19-year-old, the accuracy might not be there, but this guy might end up being ready in 2025. I mean, 2024, like somewhere down the line. You never know, 5 years, 4 years down the road, or he may just be a bust. He may just have deep potential. So that's what makes this so difficult. I kind of like going after older pitchers around the 21-22 range if I don't have any scouting on them. But let's just look at some of these guys. So Lewis Barton, he's 20 years old, 80 potential, 65 overall. He's got 80 break, and his stamina is at potentially 80. I like his strikeouts per 9 too. He's 75 strikeouts per 9. The thing is, I mean, we have 2 lefties in our organization right now. We might need another righty, but you know, Lewis Barton might be too good to pass up, because if you compare him, so hits per 9 70 and 75 strikeouts per 9, to Pedro Castillo, who's 19, 70 and 80. So maybe Pedro Castillo might be a guy that we should go after. Looks like his MLB ETA is a few years from now, but he is 19, so he might have room to grow. But it's kind of hard to guess how good they're gonna be, because like I said, the accuracy is so bad. The injury risk is at least low, and this guy's average. So maybe we should go with Pedro Castillo, because he is a righty. We do need a righty pitcher. His arm strength's okay, so it looks like his velocity might be all right. He's got higher arm strength than Lewis Barton, so that might actually be a sign to draft him over Barton. So let's look at this guy. So another lefty. I mean, there's a bunch of lefties with 80 potential that we don't know about. But look at our I'm just not looking at that diagram right there. Look at, we're thin at every single position. So maybe Pedro Castillo is our guy. I mean, I might as well take a flyer on him. We won't need him next season, but maybe if we get a good potential guy, maybe he'll be using a trade chip or something like that. So we have 3 more rounds left to pick. So now pretty much we're just going after best player available. So I want to get another starting pitcher. Let's see if there's any more. No, there's no more high accuracy guys anymore. So let's just look at potential. So I think we have a better chance at getting somebody with high potential that started out, that's maybe with low accuracy, that's projected to have good potential, rather than banking on somebody down here that may be at a specific position maybe. But I do need a catcher. That's for sure. I don't know exactly, you know, what I'm gonna do with JT Realmuto, but looking forward, I mean, I do need a catcher. So one of these picks, I'm gonna use a catcher, but I want to pick best player available right now, just so I can get a high potential guy. So Lewis Barton's still on the board, but something tells me to stay away from him, because another team hasn't picked him up yet. And if another team hasn't picked him up yet, they must know something that I don't know. So I'm going to move on from him. So here's another 80 potential guy, 22 years old, out of Dominican. A lot of Dominican born players. So let's look at him. So arm strength at 70. The one thing I don't like right now is that his hitting zones are pretty blue. And I mean, it's kind of telling that his hitting zones are blue. He might not be a good hitter. So let's move on from him. I like this guy, Howard Armas. He's 6'4" and he's 20 years old. He's a big guy. 80 out of 80 stealing, 70 speed. His hitting zones are pretty good. So maybe that might be a guy that we could potentially go after. This is the next guy. 80 out of 80 speed as well. He is a shorter guy. Remember, Troy Almonte was only 5'9", so I don't know if I want two short guys in the outfield. It's kind of alarming a little bit, but it looks like Arroyo, I don't know how you say that, Arroyo, I don't know how to say that last name, but his arm strength is 70 as far as potential goes. Let's keep going down. Clarence Zimmer, like I said, these 80 potential guys, they're staying away from them, so I don't know if they're gonna turn out good or not. Here's a Japan-born pitcher, and he's a starter. He looks like he's just okay though. He doesn't have a high strikeouts per nine potential or anything. Another 18-year-old Oliver Wood, a relief pitcher. It looks like he's out of Canada. It looks like he's decent, but I mean, the guy that I'm really looking at here is likely I just lost him. So Howard Armas, here he goes. He's only 55 overall right now. He's 20 years old, but maybe he'll come in as a higher overall than 55. I'm not sure, but I do know one thing for sure is that his hitting zones look pretty good, which means he might come in as a better hitter as expected. I'm not really sure. So, you know what? Let's go with him right now. He is a bigger guy, 6'4". I do like that. So maybe he might come in higher than expected just based on his hitting zone. So let's actually draft him right now. And next round, I probably want to address the catcher position. So looking at the catcher position, let's just pick the player here and let's just see some of these 80 potential guys. So they're still left. And like I said, these other teams might know something I don't know. They might just be a bust. So I'm actually going to stay away from them. Well, let's just look at catcher because wow, only one catcher left. We probably should have went earlier after a catcher. It might be a position that we might have to trade for, but this guy actually plays every single position. But I mean, like I said, he's the only one left. So let's just look at any of these other guys. This guy, I mean, nothing great about him. I'm looking for somebody that something jumps out. Since we don't have these guys scouted, maybe just look at something that jumps out from the rest of them. Let's just see. So this guy is 80 out of 80 stealing, but I want to get a high potential guy too. Victor Vesperis. We did just draft an outfielder just now, but he's got 80 out of 80 speed potential as well. 80 stealing, 70 arm strength potential, and he looks like he has decent power, 55, and his arm accuracy, reaction, all that looks pretty good. And he's 22 years old. I do need another infielder though, so let me just go back on infield. Henry Alvarado, he's 80 potential. I wonder why teams are staying away from him. Maybe it's because his ETA is 2022 and he's 22 years old. That's probably why. So let's look at this first baseman here. It looks like his hitting zones are pretty good as well. He looks like he can hit the ball. He's only 18. Ran to 60 and 714. But I do need a guy that can play multiple positions. And this guy's 21 years old. He's 70 potential. It looks like his hitting zones could use some work. He's obviously a better hitter versus left, batting from the right side. And this guy just looks like a normal guy. So, this is interesting. This guy's 22 though, so I don't know if I'm ready to get a 22-year-old that's MLB ETA 2022 plus. So we might have to stay away from him. But let's go over to other positions. Victor Vesperis. I like him, but we did just draft another center fielder. I don't want to get another one. Jeffrey Jones, unless something jumps out. And this guy, something does jump out. Look at that power versus right. 80 potential. So maybe this might be the guy that we might go after because we want to get something that's unique to for him. And like I said, based on Troy Almonte, I mean, if you look at him, I mean, he didn't have great arm strength, 55 arm strength, but his fielding was 80. So let's go back over to him. So Jeffrey Jones, 70 potential. That power though, I mean, maybe that might be just undeniable. And MLB ETA is 2021, which might probably end up being later. Usually that's how it works, is that when you scout them, that usually the ETA doesn't usually go up, it usually goes back. So I kind of like him. Lefty, I don't have many lefty outfielders that can hit for power right now, so I kind of like him. So let's go with Jeffrey Jones and move on to the 6th round. I believe this is the final round. Yeah, so it is the final round. So let's draft our last player. And look at this Clarence Zimmer. He's still on the board with potentially 80. I mean, I know I was dogging him a little earlier. He's a little older, 22, but he's got 80 potential. I mean, why though? Why? I want to know why he's that low. Maybe it's because he's going to come in as a low overall at age 22, maybe that's the reason why teams are staying away from him. I don't know. But Leo Baez, another 22-year-old, he's going to come in with a little bit lower potential. Yeah, I'm not sure why teams are staying away from this Clarence Zimmer. Throws left. I might just take a chance on him and see what I can get out of him, because maybe he might not fit with us, another lefty starting pitcher, but he might just be, I don't know, a surprise. I mean, he might be a surprise. So let's actually draft this last guy. Let's actually do our due diligence. Let's go down the line and look real quick. So Julian Diaz, he's 21 years old. Looks like he has pretty good hits per 9 potential, but he's 65 potential at 21 years old. Looks like his home runs are pretty much up there as well. He won't give up a lot of home runs. Abraham Pulido, it looks like he's okay. Nothing jumps out about him. Felipe Cabrera, don't see anything about him either. So a lot of these guys have like 50 something potential. I might as well just take the 80 potential guy. He's still left on the board. Might as well take him, or go after Leo Baez. And I'd rather take Zimmer here because he's got 10 points higher with his potential, so on the 2080 scale. So let's just go with him. His arm strength is a little low, but why not? I mean, let's just go with him. Clarence Zimmer. So now Clarence Zimmer's off the board on our squad. Now let's look at our draft picks. So let's go to assign draft picks. So look at Troy Almonte right away. So he's going to come in at B potential. Oh, look at this. So we actually did do well here. So we did end up with that A potential. And is that Howard Armas? So Howard Armas came in A potential, 90 rated. So this was actually a surprise for us, because remember I said that I liked his fielding ability. It was higher. His arm strength was potentially higher, and his hitting zones were higher. So look at his hitting zones. I mean, I think he has the potential to possibly be somebody probably 3 years from now, 2 seasons, 3 years from now, depending on how much he progresses. He could be a guy competing for an outfield spot. We'll have to see, but I like that he's a switch hitter, so he will hit from the left side of the plate too. So that's a good sign. Our first pick, Troy Almonte, ends up being 86 potential, but he has 94 speed, something we've been missing, and he can actually hit the ball pretty well right now. I mean, he's got B potential. He is a little guy, but you know, his arm strength definitely needs some work. 39 arm strength, so I can't see him reaching the MLB right now with 30 arm strength, 39 to be exact. I can't see him reaching the MLB next season with that low arm strength. D'Angelo Shantz, a guy that I thought I could be able to move to shortstop, and I kind of like what I see from him right now. He's 81 potential, but he's 71 overall, and he's a guy that looks like he'll be in spring training for us next season, because he's 71, and if you measure him up against my shortstops right now, he's our highest rated shortstop. I mean, let's be honest, he's our highest rated shortstop. So our third pick, Juan Baroa, ends up being okay. I mean, he's pretty good. 73 overall, B potential, 83 to be exact. Hits per 9 at 82, 78 arm strength. So I kind of like it. I kind of like this. I mean, he's pretty good. And I think I'll start him in the minors next season. 73 overall, but he might be actually better than most of the guys in my bullpen. So Pedro Castilla, 83 potential, but he's only 59 overall. He's 19 years old, so he's got some room to grow. So this was actually turned out to be a good pick. But like I said, the steal right here, with our 5th pick, we actually pick a 90 potential guy, Howard Armas. And 55 overall, but like I said, he'll be able to compete within a few years. I mean, you never know. Depending on how good he does, he might end up being a guy. And Jeffrey Jones, I mean, not bad. Look at his power. Like I said, he had that 80 potential power. Look at it right now. I mean, he's a power hitter. And what's pretty cool about him is that he's got 80 stealing with 61 speed. I don't know how that worked out, but he's got decent fielding, 73. So he's 61 overall. He's got some room to grow, but he's only C potential. So I don't know. I don't know how much he can improve. But then the last pick, Clarence Zimmer. Remember, he had a low arm strength. He's kind of a lower guy, 54 overall, 75 potential, but maybe he's a guy that can develop into something. But I mean, the pick that I like the most right here is Howard Armas. He's 55 overall, but like I said, a couple years, give him a couple years, and he's probably going to be a force to be reckoned with in the league. So I kind of like this draft, man. We didn't do too bad. D'Angelo Shantz, I like him as well. Like I said, he might be competing for a spot next season. But Troy Almonte, I think he'll need some work, especially with that arm strength down. So, like I said, the guys we can bank on probably in the immediate future. D'Angelo Shantz coming in as a third baseman. I'll likely move him to either second base. Probably not shortstop because his arm strength is a little low. So I might move him to second base. And then, let's see, Howard Armas. I mean, he's not going to compete anytime soon, but possibly Juan Baroa. I mean, that's the other guy. And we do need some bullpen arms. So maybe he won't end up being a closing pitcher. He might, but he might not. So I think this is a good draft overall, man. And you know what, man? I want you guys to submit some of your recruits here, because some of you guys are going to be renamed to these guys. I'm going to rename our draft picks to you guys. And I want you guys to match up who you want to be. I'd imagine you guys probably want to be the highest potential guy here, Howard Armas. Probably won't touch the majors for next year. Maybe the year after that, depending on how much he progresses. But, I mean, D'Angelo Shantz, man. I mean, like I said, get your recruits in. Say what guy you want to be. Put a backstory to it. I'll have a template in the description, so you don't want to miss that one. You don't want to miss your opportunity to get into the game. So that's going to do it, man. Next episode, we're probably going to make a trade. There's probably going to be a trade. I had you guys look at some of the guys that we might potentially trade after, and I'll show you some potential trades. So we'll go over that. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. We'll be back for the next episode, man. I'm geeked after this draft class. So, I mean, the future is bright. What can I say? So stay tuned. Let's go.